going on, dude?
It's been a while.
We had a little week off.
Yeah.
We got the new studio set up over here.
Fixing the lighting. We got to fix the lighting and stuff. Yeah,
We shifted into a little smaller office here for the Mad Lab. Fights are back. We did have a little boxing, though.
Yeah.
We could talk about last week.
Yep.
And Mad Lab made a great call on the Lara Wood
Did you?
fight.
You didn't watch the fight, though, right?
No, I got
I didn't
home
get
and
to watch
it just had ended. And you told me you text me on the way home saying, "Dude, Lara's got this." Wood's got this. We're in the 10th round. He's winning the fight easily, and we had Wood by decision plus 420.
Not a fight that a lot of people in the States are watching. A lot of people don't follow boxing like that. But this was a very good fight that had a good narrative behind it. You had Wood, who was the champion. He ended up getting knocked out by Lara in the 7th round in a fight that he ultimately was winning. I had it 4-2 in the first fight. Everybody came back and they jumped on Lara thinking he was going to knock him out again. Wood had a very quick turnaround. He wanted an immediate rematch. So I kind of broke it down. If you guys watched the video, you guys obviously saw the way I did break it down. Lara came in heavy. He came in a weight class heavier. Now in boxing, that's a big deal. So more people kind of leveraged onto Lara with that point. Even though he lost the belt on the scale, it made him even more dangerous because he's a power puncher. But that was all the more reason to take Wood by decision because you knew
Great
he
call.
had to stay away from him.
Yeah. Discord was going nuts.
So he outboxed him the whole fight, and we ended up cashing a plus 420. So if you guys are interested in boxing, not only the UFC, but you want a content provider that's going to give you also boxing content, and boxing leans like that, we do breakdowns on this channel. So please like, subscribe, and comment. But we also do have the full breakdowns of the fights on the MadLabMMA.com. So come over there. And check
There's a lot of good boxing coming up, too. So
great boxing. Next week, we got Teofimo Lopez and Josh Taylor.
Teofimo Lopez next week. Mav's going to do a breakdown. And then they just officially signed, finally, the Bud Crawford, Errol Spence fight.
Great fight.
That's going to be the fight of the year.
Special guest coming on for that breakdown.
Oh, Hollywood.
Got my father, the OG, coming down. That's his guy, Errol Spence. He's been on him since the amateurs, so he's going to come in. He's going to not come in, but I'll have him on Zoom. He'll do a breakdown. Maybe he will come in.
You know what? I don't think it's too late. I don't think it's
you can't be any later. It's got to be now.
This is not like a Pacquiao Mayweather situation. You know what I mean? There goes Pat fucking knocking the wall down.
What is he doing?
They're hanging up this. Somebody sent me like this like astronaut thing. It's really cool. My friend killed it. You'll see it. Pat's hanging up on the wall. I don't think it's like a Mayweather Pacquiao situation where it's 5 years too late.
No.
Although it could have been 2 years earlier.
It could have been.
But they're both still in their prime.
Yeah.
I know Spence had that accident, but I mean he's looked completely fine since the accident. So he's a little reckless in there, though, man. I don't even know who I'm gonna pick in that fight.
Tough fight, bro.
Such a tough fight, man.
Tough fight.
That's gonna be
everything.
awesome.
It's for all the belts. It's for everything.
This is for everything. So this is huge, big legacy here. This is like
Got Inoue coming up against Fulton. That's a huge test for him.
Huge test.
Clarissa Shields fighting this weekend, but I'm not interested.
A lot of good stuff coming up.
A lot of stuff.
Before we get to the somewhat lackluster card on Saturday,
Ultimate Fighter, I think, premieres tonight.
Is it tonight?
I think it premieres tonight.
Oh, speaking of Ultimate Fighter, Conor McGregor. So you got in my head a little bit this morning about the Conor Chandler. Conor just looks like he's been partying hard, man.
But you know what? This is what I wanted. I thought about it and I told you, and I came in. I was like, you better second guess your thoughts on Conor. But then I'm saying, you know what, bro? We've known this since the beginning.
He's always been like that.
He's always partied.
Yeah.
He's always partied. You should be more concerned about the whole USADA thing with how's he going to perform when he's completely off all the gear. That's really what. I mean, think about everyone who's partied. John Jones has partied. You got Arturo Gati's partied. Everybody. I mean, the majority of these guys partied. The only thing about him is he's such a good talker. He makes you believe. He makes you believe he's training 2 times a day. He makes you believe he's doing all these things. But as far as like people, it's like clickbait. People coming in, he's partying. Can he come back from this and that, blah, blah, blah. It's like he's always partied. This guy has partied his entire career.
He's one of the best trash talkers since Ali.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, he really is, and he's he's a very eloquent speaker, so he can make you believe that he's completely dialed in and he's completely all.
Dude, he made people believe that he was going to beat Floyd Mayweather. He literally made people believe.
You had content people that were saying that he was going to knock him out, bro.
Sick.
I mean, you remember that one guy? He's going to do it.
Robin
Black. He's going to do it.
He's
going to knock out Floyd, and then you're going to have to go to work
because this is what he does. Like, are you out of your mind?
Listen, you're going to have to go to work the next day and explain to people why Conor knocked out Mayweather.
When you really,
like what?
When you really think about that, right? And I hate saying this about Mayweather, calling him one of the best of all time.
Best defensive.
Yeah.
Defensive.
Could you imagine that people were picking a guy for his first...
Yo, the odds. You remember how narrow they got?
His first boxing fight ever against a guy that was one of the best fighters of all time.
And you know what's crazy, bro?
And that people picked him to win.
Bro, you know what's crazy though? He hasn't had a knockout for like ever before Conor, dude.
Yeah, I think that you know who was the guy from the guy from overseas. There's only one. What's his name? Ricky Hatton. Remember Ricky?
Yeah,
dude. He knocked him out in the 9th round.
But bro, like he hasn't had a knockout in so long, and people still after the fight they're like he won a round. Bro, Mayweather carried him.
He won a round. Sick. People are so
Yeah,
delusional. And you believe what you want to believe.
You believe what you want to believe.
So you get influenced by the media.
Don't get so influenced by him with the party. This is what he's always partying.
Plus, he has to go 6 months clean in the pool. So he's going to stop partying for 6 months, get in shape or whatever.
Yeah, but
let's not get it twisted. He's on the gas.
Well, that's what I would be more concerned about.
He's been on the gas now for a while.
How is he going to perform completely off the gas?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's got, there's ways around everything, but, bro, he was really gassed up for a while, bro.
He was like 190, 195, like a rock, too.
He was walking around like Stay Puft, dude. Like,
we're talking test, trend, growth, EQ, DECA, growth, everything.
So we'll see. But like I said, don't buy so much into all these links.
Sustanon.
These videos talking about can he come back from this? He's a druggie and he's doing he's done this since his entire career.
But I don't think he has the. I will say I don't think he has the drive and the hunger no more to win at the highest level.
No, he claims he went back.
I think he has the drive to want to compete at the highest level. I think he says he wants to compete at the highest level, which this is, right? The UFC is the highest level, right? I think he says it. I think in his head he wants it. But I just don't think that where he is in this stage that he's going to work as hard as it does take to compete at the highest level.
Bro, this guy can literally buy a boatload of coke and never have to work again.
But that's what I'm saying.
He does. Like he just buys blow and has it on.
Now, Michael Chandler
he's dialed in.
One of the hardest working guys out there who takes it very seriously.
But the one danger zone, like Conor's very smart. He takes fights that he could maybe match up. There's one thing about Michael Chandler that he does that Conor knows he can capitalize on. He throws wild hooks where Conor comes right down the middle. So it's
but you know what? Poirier was
a
bad matchup for him from the beginning.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight. But don't buy into that narrative.
Accurate.
Don't buy into that narrative about he's partying all the time and he's doing this. At the end of the day, we always knew he did this. There's a lot of fighters that do it. It's not good. It doesn't make them a better fighter. It does deteriorate them. But at the end of the day, it's not like he's completely a washed guy and he's not going to. I don't buy into that.
Dude, it's going to be, again, one of the biggest grossing pay-per-view events of all time because it's McGregor no matter what. So that's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get to the fights. All right, so we got a somewhat of a lackluster card, but hey, we got fights. If you're a fight fan, we got fights Saturday night. And then next weekend after that, we have pay-per-view, Volkanovski, Yair, and then we got Brandon Moreno, Alejandro Pantoja, which I'm so psyched for that fight. But the headliner coming up Saturday night is going to be Kara France against Amir Albazi. It's actually a very good fight. But we're going to start with the bottom of the main card, Alex Caceres versus Pineda. Caceres, 4 knockouts, 7 submissions. He was sub 7 times, bro. Wow. 1 fight winning streak against Julian Erosa. Lost to Sadiq by decision before that. Won 5 straight before that. Del Savvy, awkward, been around for a while. He's a veteran. He is the favorite. Pineda, 28-14. Another veteran here. Knocked out 3 times, sucked 6 times. He just beat Tucker Lutz by submission. I'm going to take Pineda here as a dog. All right?
All right. How do you think he does it?
By submission.
That's the way he would do it.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I just look at Caceres. I think this is a guy who's extremely crafty. He's a savvy vet. Now, I still don't look at him like that. It's so weird. I don't look at him like that. I still look at him like he's just a guy who still has a couple fights. But the guy's been in the UFC for a long time. He's a mainstay. He grew into his body. And what I mean by that is when he first came in, he had that very matrixy, southpaw, odd style about him, and I felt like he had to grow into it. Now he grew into it, but he was a guy who was very unchained, southpaw fighter, made a lot of mistakes. Obviously, we know he's been submitted 7 times, but he grew into his body. He kind of filled in the holes that he needed to fill in fundamentally, and he spackled the holes that he just knows that just don't work. You know, so he's just smart. He's seen every style. He's got the 4-inch reach advantage here. And Daniel Pineda is a guy who obviously we know what he's going to do. He's going to come in. He's going to have high pace, high pressure. He's going to look for a finish. If somebody does get a finish in here, it's probably going to be Pineda. Alex Caceres is slept on a little bit now with his power, though. He does have some deceptive power because of his range striking and stuff like that. I just think he's going to be able to frustrate Pineda. I think Caceres' style is very herky-jerky. It's very hard to kind of pin down. I think if Pineda doesn't get him out of there in the first round, I think Caceres starts kind of dialing him in, finding his angles, utilizing the real estate of the cage, stays away from him, picks at him, pokes at him, and ends up winning like a 29-28 decision. So I'm going to go Caceres by decision.
All right, you got it right down. Pineda by submission. Next fight on the card, Tim Elliott, Victor Moreno. Elliott coming in the favorite. Another savvy veteran. 6 submissions. It also has been submitted 5 times. 1 fight win streak. Ulanbekov lost to Nicolau. He found out his wife was cheating. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
How's that for some digging, doing some research?
Gina Mazzani, dude. Gina Mazzani. So what happened was, guess who she cheated on him with?
Who?
Kevin Kroom.
No.
You remember Kevin Kroom?
Yeah, the fighter. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened was he was best friends.
When did this happen?
He found out not too long ago. So what happened was,
wow,
he was married to Gina Mazzani. Kevin Kroom, I think, either married them or was the best man in the wedding, and he was actually banging her at that time.
No.
Yeah, and he found out about it. And now she after the breakup and everything, apparently she went with Kevin. Like, now I think she's with Kevin Kroom. So
wow.
He's been tweeting about this like the past couple of months.
I didn't know that.
So you got to wonder, like,
yeah, mentally.
He's
an exciting fighter to watch too. He's always in wars, but man, that you just threw a wrench in there.
Right? Like, that's
yeah, of course. Mentally, man, as a man going through that.
Yeah.
Wow.
He posted pictures of Kevin Kroom like doing the speech. And everything. It was kind of
Dude, you might have just changed my pick on this. All right, Moreno, 12-2, 2 knockouts, 4 submissions, been sub once, 2 fight winning streak against Salvador Da Silva. Well-rounded switch fighter. He's the dog here. 4-inch reach advantage. You know, the level of opposition is a big difference. Elliott's been in the UFC for a long time and faced some tough guys, but you just kind of blew my mind with what you just said here, man. Coming into this, I was going to take Elliott here, and I love the way he fights, but wow.
It's just something to think about.
Yeah, it's something to think about. I mean, I'm still going to go with Elliott here, but you definitely threw a little something in mind. I'm going to go Elliott by decision.
For me, this is like the Alex Caceres effect with Elliott. He's just very, very hard to figure out. He's a very good wrestler. He's got very good grappling on the ground. He's very slippery. He's got his name from debuting on short notice against Demetrius Johnson. Even though he lost, he had a very good account of himself. That's how he kind of made his name. Since then, he's been like a rotating door of wins and losses. But the guy's good. Like, when the guy is dialed in, the problem is getting him dialed in. Like, he doesn't show up for every fight. But when he is dialed in, he's got very awkward striking. Sometimes he will not shoot. You know, he will literally stay on the feet. You'll be screaming at the TV, shoot, shoot, shoot. When it does go to the ground, though, he is very slippery. He's got very loose hips. He knows how to shrimp out. He knows how to get, into an advantageous position. And Victor Moreno is kind of like, in a roundabout way, the same fighter. This guy will throw a lot more volume. He actually doubled his striking lance per minute. He also does like going for takedowns, but his takedown accuracy is 23%, where Elliott's got a 61% takedown defense, but he's just more active. Elliott is the more active guy. This is a guy who fought a much better level of competition. I just think it's his style of fighting that I don't think Victor Moreno is going to be able to figure out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Elliott. I'm going to go Elliott by decision, but you're definitely going to have some scares in here. We're going to probably scream at the TV, take him down. Why aren't you taking him down? Why are you standing with him? It's going to be one, but it's going to end up being grappling. They're going to end up getting into some grappling exchanges, and I got to favor Tim Elliott in spot, even though he's going through, God knows what the hell he's going through mentally with Gino Mazzani.
Wow, did not know that. Okay, next fight on the card. Abubakar Nurmagomedov, as MadLabs said, always says not all Nurmagomedovs are made the same. So right away, people associate Nurmagomedov with
He is the cousin, though.
He is a cousin? So he's got some could be blood in him against Zaleski dos Santos. You know, Zaleski dos Santos is the kind of guy, when I watch him fight.
I love him, dude.
Yeah, I love watching him fight. I always think he's better than what he shows us he is, though.
Yeah, because that's what he does.
You know, and I'm always this
He's
guy.
matchup predicated.
Yeah, he looks like he should be. He looks like he should be better. His record should be better than what it displays. Just watching him fight, I love the way the guy fights. You got Magomedov on a 2-fight winning streak. He did get a triangle choke by Zawada. I remember that. You know, wrestling. He's a wrestler. Magomedov. He wants to get it to the ground. Dos Santos, man, rotating doors, a lot of wars. Black belt in BJJ, solid boxing. Stays on the feet. I like Dos Santos. If he gets to the ground, then Magomedov. I'm going to say that Dos Santos finds a way to keep it on the feet, avoids the control time on the ground, and wins by decision.
All right, I'm going the other way. Even though I love Dos Santos, you know that.
Yeah.
I even picked him against a friend of mine when they fought, you know, a while back. But the fact of the matter is, it's just when you look at Magomedov, this is a 3-time bronze medalist in Sambo. Dos Santos is very good. If this fight stays on the feet, this is Dos Santos. You know, he's a black rope in capoeira. He's got the black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, so he is capable down there.
Explain black rope as opposed to black belt.
It's just a different terminology.
Just a different term. Yeah. I never heard it used that way.
Yeah, like they got different names. Some art forms, like if you Jeet Kune Do, they don't even have a belt system.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's just a different form. So he's a black rope capoeira, which is like the form of dancing. You know what I mean? So he's got very, very slick style on his feet. He's got good boxing. He showed that. One of the best fights he had with the boxing was against Lyman Good. Remember that fight?
Yep.
So if it stays on the feet,
Lyman Good's a Jersey guy, right?
Yeah, Tiger Showman guy. But it's the wars, the damage, the wars that he's been in.
He's 37 now too, right?
37 years old. He's got a 62% takedown defense. He's only got a 15% takedown accuracy, which he's not, and he doesn't want to take this to the ground. But if Ubar gets this to the ground, I just think that he's going to be able to, even if it's boring and sluggish, he's going to be able to have that top control to control. So I just think at some point in every round, he'll probably get into trouble on the feet with Dos Santos. I mean, if he decides to stay and trade with Dos Santos, he's going to be in trouble. But I think every part of the round, at some point around, he's going to figure out a way to get it to the ground, lay on top of him, get the top control, gain enough top control to gain the round, and he'll probably win like a lopsided decision, 29, 28, 30, 27. So I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go to Magomedov, but if it stays on the feet, I agree. It's just the wars. Dos Santos has been in a lot of fucking wars.
You know, it's probably going to play out like you just said. I just want to see stay on the feet. I like watching this guy fight. I don't want to see a boring fight.
Yeah, and he's got a rotating door. I mean, he's one loss. He lost to Salikov. He beat Konchenko. He lost to Leach. He beat Millender. You know, so he's still there. He's still there. He's still fighting. And if you look at
37 years old, the window is.
Yeah, but if you look at Magomedov, he hasn't fought really this high level of competition. No, you know what I mean. He got triangle choked by David Zawad, who's not even in UFC anymore.
Yep.
He beat Jared Gooden, so it's not like he beat this high level, but he does have that ability if he can get it to the ground to secure you there. So it's a good fight. It's a very good fight, but I'm just going to lean slightly to Magomedov.
Yeah, this is definitely a UFC real fans kind of card where you're watching guys you don't get to see a lot of. You know what I mean? So if you're a big fan, it'll actually be a pretty good card. Next fight on the card, the co-headliner, who MadLab just interviewed about an hour ago, New Jersey's own Jim Miller versus Jared Gordon. Miller's coming in as the dog. Miller's been around a long time. He's got a 3-fight winning streak before losing to Hernandez. He beat Cerrone, Mota, Gonzalez, and he lost Alexander Hernandez. Black belt under Jimmy Cruz. Most fights, most sub-attempts, most wins in UFC history. Crazy. Planning on retiring at UFC 300. So that would be about a year from now because UFC 293 is going to be in September. I just looked that up. I'd have signed his headline in that card. So Jim Miller's going to, first ballot, Hall of Famer, fighting Jared Gordon. Gordon's a tough guy to fight. He had a no contest against Bobby Green that just happened. He got robbed in the Paddy Pimblett fight.
Crazy.
I mean, talk about robberies, and you just made that video on YouTube about robberies, man.
I should have put that in there.
I think you could probably listen. You could probably make videos with 10 fights on every one. But you should put that. You should put the O'Malley Peter Yan. I mean, we could just top of our heads think. But that
was bad.
That was bad, bro.
Dana White knew it too.
It did, Dana.
He saw in the crowd. You saw him in the crowd,
dude.
And he was like, he had his back turned, and
every media scorecard had
bad. Gordon
winning that fight. They robbed that kid of a big victory. Anyway, Jim Miller's the dog. Jim Miller's from Jersey. We're from Jersey. I'm not going against Jim Miller. Jim Miller wins by decision.
It's tough, man. In the interview, if you guys, I don't know what's going up first. This might be up before the interview, vice versa, but definitely look out for that interview. And I trained with Jim Miller years ago, back when he was in reality fighting, him and his brother. And I said to him, you always know who the best fighter in the room is, right? Like when you're in the gym, you know the biggest guy is. You know who the best guy is. And you always knew Jimmy was going to be the best guy in the room. But I said to him, not to be insulting or to take credit away, but look at these guys and be like, bro, one day that guy's going to be leading in almost every statistical ranking in UFC history. Like you don't think about things like that. You know what I mean? And here he is now. He's got the most fights. He's like Anthony said, he's got the most submission attempts, second in submissions with Damian Maia. Like it's just insane to me. This is a kid who recovered from Lyme disease. He says he's fighting until UFC 300. That's going to be his retirement, and he's still going. He's still plugging away. And black belt under Jamie Cruz, extremely dangerous on the ground. Even though he's not that athletic, once he gets down to the ground, if you can't solve that riddle with him, he's most likely going to sub you. Can be a little robotic on the feet, but Jared Gordon, the same thing. A lot of people discredit his grappling. There's a brown belt under John Danaher, who's a black belt under Renzo Gracie. Good boxing, good wrestling, good grappling. He was ripped off by Paddy Pimblett. He had the no contest against Bobby Green. Like, this guy's thirsty right now for a win. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a really good fight, but I don't know. Like Anthony said, I just can't go against him. My heart is telling me, Miller, this is such a close fight. Like, you could there's no wrong answer here, but my heart's going with Miller. I got to be a little biased here. And I do think that if he does get this to the ground, even though Gordon does have good wrestling or good grappling, I don't think it's as good as Jim Miller. So I'm going to go Jim Miller. I'm going to say Jim Miller pulls off either a really dirty, greasy split decision or he finds his way to a sub.
Let's go, Jim Miller. Main event. We have KKF, Kai Kara France against AMIR ALBAZI. UFC's high in Al-bazi, okay? KKF is tough, but you know what? He keeps getting his chances, and he's not. He lost to Moreno. Sure, he knocks out No Chin Garbrandt, beat a tough Askarov. Won against a tough kid, Bontorian. That's another tough fight. I mean,
he's very underrated.
Bontorian?
Yeah.
I just don't know what KKF's going to show up to this fight, right? Because when he's dialed in, he's tough. He's tough. But Al-bazi he's someone that the UFC wants. They want him.
Because he represents a region, too.
Where's he from?
Iraq.
He's from Iraq. There you go.
But he fights out of I think he fights out of the UK though.
I mean, he has a 5-fight winning streak, including in the regional. He beat Gordon, Zumagulov, Francisco Figueiredo, not Davidson Figueiredo. He beat Costa. Like I said, the UFC wants Al-bazi to win this fight. I actually think this is a perfect test for a guy like AMIR ALBAZI, and then he passes this test, he's going to be ranked in the top 5, top 10 in the division, and work his way up. So I think the UFC wants him to win this fight. I think KKF loses this fight, and Al-bazi wins. I'm going to say Al-bazi. I'm going to say he knocks him out. I'm going to say he knocks out KKF in the main event.
You think he's going to knock him out?
Yeah, total gut call, man.
All right. Well, I'm going Al-bazi, but I'm going to go Al-bazi either by submission or by decision. The reason why is the KKF is I like him a lot, but even coming up, I just didn't think he was that good. I thought like he was missing a couple elements to be the guy. This is an interim belt, so technically,
he kind of got that shot at Moreno without really earning a title shot. I
Right.
feel like because of Figueiredo, because they fought so many times. That they're like, give it to KKF. Like, they almost had no one else to give the title shot to. I didn't think he really earned a title shot.
Well, no, but he's got good credentials. He's got a good camp.
But not title worthy.
No, I'm saying he's not title worthy. But I'm saying you don't know how the UFC is angling this. They can have this thing like City Kickboxing versus the world.
Yeah.
You have Volkanovski, you have Izzy, and then now you have KKF. Even though it's an interim belt, but I'm saying he's good. Like if you're going to stand on the feet with him. Good luck. He's very calculated. He's very good. He's got good speed, good volume. He's got decent power, but it's his grappling. He does have 85% takedown defense, which is very serviceable. But when he gets to the ground, he cannot get up worth to save his life.
And that's what happened with Moreno.
And Al-bazi's the type of guy who is well rounded. He's not great, like super great anywhere. He's got good leg kicks on the feet. He's serviceable on the feet. He's got good cardio. He's durable. But he will commit to taking you down. If he takes you down, he's got a very good submission game. That's what he leans on. I think that's his path here. Like, I think in a 3-round fight, I'd be leaning on Al-bazi a lot heavier. But since it's 5 rounds, you got to be a little bit careful because now they're both headed into those championship rounds. But I just think it's almost like the same thing that I'm talking about with the Magomedov, securing those takedowns in the really tight moments. Like when there's a round that's, God, Anthony, how you score this? I don't know. Then all of a sudden, a minute left in the round, Al-bazi takes it to the ground.
I just see him finishing him on top of him, but with
like
some
a ground and pound.
pound.
Yeah, very, very.
That's how I
very
see
possible.
It.
But
Not a knock, a standing knock, get him to the ground, and then full mount, ground and pound, and the referee. That's what I see.
But I think he needs to start right out of the gate.
Yep.
I think he needs to secure a takedown right out of the gate, or threaten a takedown right out of the gate to freeze him a little bit. Because if he doesn't, if he decides to stand and trade with KKOF, it's gonna be a bad night. So he's got to go for a takedown, go for the hips. Even if he fails, let him know, like, I'm coming after your hips. And then I think eventually he's gonna get him to the ground. I'm gonna say he's gonna sub him, but if not, it'll be not a lopsided decision, but I could see like a 3-2 for Al-bazi. So I'm gonna go Al-bazi being the new interim champ.
Well, there you go. And then we got the fights next weekend. Big card, UFC 291.
Something like
or
that.
290. Anyway, Brandon Moreno, Pantoja co-headlined the fight. I believe Pantoja is going to get the belt. I love Pantoja.
I mean, you want to talk about it? You know, you talk about Benil. You talk about these guys complaining about not getting their shots, dude.
And he beat Moreno in the past.
289.
It's 289 coming up. Wow, man.
Then you got Vittori and Cannonier.
Yeah, we got 11
Emmett
straight weeks of cards.
Strickland and Magomedov.
Topuria is fighting who?
Topuria is fighting Emmett, Josh Emmett.
Wow.
That's a banger of fight. Then you got Strickland and Magomedov.
Nice.
Then you got Alexander Volkanovski and Yair.
Yep.
Holman Silva, Aspinall and Tybura.
At the return of Aspinall after the injury.
Dustin Poirier, Gaethje.
Dude, that's for the BMF belt.
Yeah, Luque dos Anjos.
Wow.
Sterling O'Malley.
We got a lot of good fight cards coming up,
Aldana,
baby. It's time.
Aldana Nunes.
Yeah, the NBA is going to be over. Football's 3 months away. This is the time right now where it's all about UFC.
Nuggets in 5.
Nuggets, yeah. I like that call. I like that call, too. But yeah, Miami always surprises me. Let's not forget about Showdown's dog pick of the week.
I fully endorse that pick, by the way.
And so your call is Nuggets in 5?
Nuggets in 5.
I'm going to go Nuggets in 6.